Hey, it's me, Raika. Today we're going to have a look at the brand new Awakened Mauler hero Antandra, the Dragonflame Spear. Now, this hero wears leather-based gear, is part of the warrior class, and her primary role is to provide a significant amount of continuous damage through her Awakened ability over here. So let's have a look at her abilities. Her ultimate ability, Dragonflame Armor. When it is activated, when she gains full energy, Antandra channels the power of draconic fire to activate Dragon Flame Armor. Now, this is a little red buff that will appear all around her, and this will give her different types of enhancements. Activating this effect does not consume energy. After activation, Dragon Flame Armor consumes energy per second, and the effect will be deactivated once her energy runs out. While it is active, Entendre is unaffected by energy recovery effects from others as well as energy reduction effects. The passive component, Dragonflame Armor, scorches nearby enemies. So this is a little damage over time effect that will appear around her where she'll continually burn the enemies while they're within her range. This will inflict health loss based on Entendra's attack rating every second. Atandra's normal attacks also inflict scorching damage, and her other skills will also have additional enhancements when cast. The level 2. While Antandra's health is above a certain amount, so amount is 60%, healing she receives is converted into energy recovery. So that means because she can't recover energy while her ultimate is activated or gain any additional effects from energy recovery, this allows her to supercharge this burning or scorched flame effect so that she can continually burn the enemies while this effect is active. And this energy or health will be converted into energy recovery. For every 1% of max health she is healed, Antandra recovers 15 energy points. While Dragonflame Armor is active and Antandra's health is below 60%, her health loss is converted into energy loss. For every 1% of health she loses, that loss is converted into loss of 10 energy points instead. So as we can see over here, that depending on how much health she has, this will either benefit her or disadvantage her when she uses this particular ability. Right, so let's have a look at the next effect over here. Scorching flames can melt any armor. Every time Entendre deals scorching damage to an enemy, their physical resist and buffer are permanently reduced, while Entendre also permanently steals a percentage of these attributes. So this can go to a massive amount of physical resist that she can essentially remove from the enemy target up to 60 points each. So this is 60 points of any armor that the enemy may have and also buffer as well. So this is a massive amount of extra damage she can inflict on the enemy targets or debuffs she can inflict on the enemy targets. So let's look at the next ability, Demand Duel. Antandra engages a target in a duel, taunting them. The duel ends early if either party is slain in the meantime. So she'll essentially target one enemy hero and she'll force that enemy target to attack her during that period of time. Dragonflame armor is enhanced during this period. The target suffers scorching damage, losing health loss based on Entandra's attack rating every second during the duel. Level 2. If by the end of the duel, Entendre has inflicted more damage and health loss on the target than the target has inflicted on her, then she will recover energy. So she'll recover 400 energy points and the taunt lasts for 7 seconds. Now the level 3, this is further upgraded from 400 to 650 energy points. The level 4, during the duels, Entendre is immune to control effects and damage from enemies other than the duel is reduced by 70%. So this is a massive amount of damage reduction. However, this is only during the duel. So outside the dueling period, she is extremely vulnerable to incoming damage from the enemy target. The level 5. During duels, the duel target deals 70% less damage to enemies other than in Tundra. And the level 6. During the jewel. When Antandra takes fatal damage from the enemy other than the jewel target, she becomes immune to the damage and briefly becomes invincible. This effect can be triggered 2 times. So, as we can see, she has a lot of damage reduction, energy recovery, and cheat deaths built into this one particular ability. So let's have a look at the next skill over here, Spear Barrage. Antandra enchants her spear with Draconis gems, then launches a barrage of jabs at enemies within a certain range in front of her, dealing multiple strikes of damage to them. Dragonflame armor enhancement, so this is when her ultimate is activated. Each strike that lands deals scorching damage to the enemy, so this is a bit of health lost or damage over time effect that is inflicted on the enemy. Then level 2. While casting this skill, Antandra also gains 80 points of accuracy, and if the ultimate is activated as well, for every enemy hit by a strike, the critical rating for the next strike is increased by 20%. Now, because she is a warrior, this means she has a very low initial crit rating. However, because of this buff, she can essentially get multiple stacks of this particular buff, allowing her to crit every single time she hits the enemy target. And then level 3. For every 3 points that Antandra's physical resist exceeds that of the target, so this pairs extremely well with the ultimate, Antandra's damage for the next or this attack is increased by 10%, and Antandra can increase her damage by a maximum of 260% in this area. Now, furthermore, the ultimate can further enhance this effect. For every 3 points that Antandra's buffer exceeds that of the target, the health lost inflicted by scorching flames from this attack is increased by 10%, so this can stack all the way to 260% in this particular manner. So as we can see, her kit revolves extremely well with the different abilities and synergies that they have with one another. Her next ability over here, Warrior's Woe. Antandra hurls a spear at the enemy. Here with the highest attack rating, dealing damage to them. She then leaps to the spear's location, dealing equal amounts of damage to enemies in her path. Now, when the ultimate is active, once again, Antandra will leap to the spear's location. She deals damage equal to 180% of her attack rating to the enemies near the target, while also knocking them down and stunning them briefly. Enemies hit suffer scorching damage, so this is that damage over time effect. The level 2, when the skill ends, Antandra gains 30 points of haste for 5 seconds. And the level 3, the extremely important buff, Antandra steals 35% of the attack rating of enemies hit, up to 400% of her initial attack rating for 5 seconds. So as we can see, a lot of her damage is focused around her scorching damage. So this is a damage over time effect. So the more attack rating she has when she steals the enemy targets, or she has a lot of buffs such as engravings, signature item, and SI, this will further enhance all the other effects and make her scorching damage even more effective in battle. So let's have a look at how she does during enemies in battle. Right, so we're going to start off with the training dummy over here. So as soon as we can see, she's leaping across the battlefield and she's throwing a spear across, as we can see over here, right across the battlefield and leaps toward immediately. Now we can also see these little 2 spears that appear over the enemy's head. So as we can see, there's those multiple jabs. Now when these 2 little spears or crosses appear above an enemy target, this means that she's currently dueling the enemy target. This allows her to reduce the amount of incoming damage that she receives from other enemy targets, gains a massive amount of energy recovery, and allows her to continually funnel her Dragonflame armor enhancement. So as we can see over here, she's currently not enhanced. But as soon as she activates her armor, so let's do that now, a little scorching fire will appear right around Antandra over here. And now all of her effects will be supercharged. So we can see there's a little fire icon around her, and this buffs all of her abilities tremendously and allows her to deal massive amounts of damage to the enemy targets. So let's have a look at a 200 level deficit. So as we can see over here, in many cases, she can out damage other top tier damage dealers. Now the reason for this is she needs to have her stats, such as a buffer, physical resist, erosion, higher than the enemy. Now, once you've broken past those initial threshold of 30 points difference between herself and the enemy target, then she becomes a massive powerhouse when dealing damage to the enemies. Now, in this case over here, we can see that the enemies do not have engravings, signature item, or furniture. This supercharges her damage. So you will have to overinvest in Antandra for her to become effective in many of these areas of battle. So let's have a look at how she does. Now, she'll work extremely well with allies that do not restrict or place some negative effects on her. She needs allies that essentially can keep her alive long enough or provide a bit of a damage reduction in between so that she can essentially start snowballing out of control, removing the enemy's physical resist, getting her energy and getting all the necessary buffs so that she can get a scorching damage and one-shot all the enemies by herself, as in this particular battle over here. So what is the minimum investment that I would recommend into this allied hero? Now, I would highly recommend, similar to other allied heroes, maxing out, such as 30 SI, 9 furniture, and 60 engravings. However, I would even push this even further using her 40 signature item. This gives her additional buffs such as physical resist, magic resist, and erosion, as erosion is one of the best stats for her, attack rating and erosion. And if you can scale this high enough, all of her buffs will be buffed through the roof, allowing you to deal top tier damage to the enemy targets. Now, she's currently a very new hero, and we will have to wait and see how she does at each particular Curse Drive or Nightmare Corridor rotation. But currently, she does a lot of damage to enemy targets. However, there are a couple of allies that can swap for her position, but she's still an extremely valuable investment to have on your team.